Hey folks, welcome back to Three's In. Bobo here. So I have had probably a half a dozen people comment on my YouTube channel here about just starting out and learning to fly, starting out in UPT and pilot training and so forth, and ask a couple questions now and then. And I began thinking about that, and I thought, what is it I could pass on to these people that might help them? And for some reason or another, the topic of Checkrides came to mind. Now, we had to take Checkrides frequently throughout my flying career. We had going through UPT, of course, at the end of every phase, you have a Checkride. And then, once you become a rated pilot, you'll have an annual proficiency and an annual instrument check. Those are the basic checks you're going to have. Then you're going to have specialty checks, checks to the range to employ weapons, checks to air refuel, checks to fly formation in cargo aircraft, and so forth. You're forever being evaluated, and there can be a lot of anxiety, a little bit of stress associated with that. But I discovered that if I took time and really prepared for a check ride, there was virtually little to no anxiety affiliated with it, associated with it. And I can tell you that without reservation. Preparation is the key. If you go into the check ride and you haven't been in the books, you haven't studied, can't help you there, Pilgrim. But if you know what's coming, they don't keep it a secret. You know what maneuvers you're going to be expected to perform. So study up on those things. Know what you're going to be doing like the back of your hand. And then look at it as an opportunity to take that check pilot up and let them enjoy the experience with you. My gosh, it takes a while to get there. I'll give you that. I didn't figure it out till about year 14 maybe. It took a while, and I felt anxiety in check rides. There was always the check pilot that was a hammer. There was one that was had a reputation, this, that, and the other, and hard grader, and this, that, and crap. I'll tell you about a little bit more about it, but I had a check pilot when I went through UPT and two-ship, and his name was Max Schmeling, and he was known as Max the Axe, because he had a reputation for taking people out. I didn't like that. I never have liked bullies, and I didn't like the fact that this guy was known as Max the Axe. And here I am, and I do this, okay? Oh, God, I don't believe I did it. You know those old grinding wheels that they used to sharpen axes on? Well, I took a black crayon pen they used to issue us, a marker pen, and we wore our helmets in those days when we went through pilot training were white, student pilot helmets. So anyway, I took and I drew an axe grinding wheel on the back of my helmet. So Max would sit in the back of the cockpit, and that's what he had to stare at the whole flight, was that wheel for grinding an axe. I didn't put anything else on it. I just drew that figure of the axe grinding wheel. When we came down, I did fine on the ride. We came down and filled out the grade sheet, and about to go on my way. He said, by the way, what was that on the back of your helmet? And I said, I was a first lieutenant, and he was a first lieutenant. Anyway, I said, well, sir, you have a reputation as Max the Axe. And he kind of looked at me and kind of grinned, and I said, that's an axe grinding wheel. Just turned around and left them. And I thought to myself, God, I hope I don't get them in four-ship. I didn't. But anyway, I wouldn't advise doing that. Like I said, Jesus, Oliver, what are you thinking? Anyway, I want to come back on topic here. Preparation's the key. Know your stuff. That's your job when you're in pilot training, is to know what you're responsible for and know it like the back of your hand. And when you have a chance to go in for an evaluation, go in with the attitude, let me sit down and show you or tell you just how much I know about this subject, because it's a lot of fun. And that's something we don't want to forget. It is fun. And I've come down, I could share a couple more instances on check rides with you. I took a check ride one time with Greg Hiss in 38s, and it was an instrument check. And we took off, and we did quite a few things on that ride. We came back and went through the normal debrief. I was fine. He gave me an excellent on the ride, and I was fine with that. I had a lot of respect for Greg. And then I went on my way. I went back to the squadron, and about a half hour later, I get a call from Greg, and he says, "Hey, Bob," he says, "I've been reflecting upon that check ride we flew together." And he said, "I went in and talked to the boss, and he said, I'm going to have to reassess the grade on it." Or they call it a grade. And I said, "Okay." He says, "That was an outstanding check ride you flew, and I gave you an excellent." But he said, more I reflected upon it, it was outstanding. That was the first outstanding, one of the first ones I ever received on a check ride. And it really made an impression on me. Hey, all I need to do to get an outstanding versus an excellent was to prepare just a little bit more. The difference between an excellent and an outstanding is in the preparation, and it's really not that much. And also, once you do the preparation, a little bit of attitude comes in there, a positive attitude, not the maxia, not the axe grinder attitude. That was kind of juvenile and immature, I'll give you that. But be prepared, walk in there with a great attitude, and don't get rattled if something goes wrong. Something will go wrong, something can go wrong on the check ride. Sometimes will go wrong. Don't worry about it. Just keep flying the jet, because in actuality, on an operational mission, if something goes wrong, you're not going to throw your hands up and quit. No, you're going to say, okay, we need to keep pressing on. And that's what we do. So for you young people out there, if you've tuned in, know you're going to have check rides, but approach it with the attitude of, come on, let me show you how fun it is to fly. Keep that in mind, okay? And you'll do fine. And once you get that first outstanding on a check ride, you'll find yourself developing a thirst or a hunger for more of them. And so with that being said, that's kind of my perspective on check rides. This is Bobo, Base Gear. Stop.